Um, Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our semi-weekly Zoom call. This is our 14th call to give you an update on how we're responding in the wake of the ongoing pandemic. Again, by now, I think you all know I'm Peter Keller. I lead the EC board, and I'm joined today by Patrick Bergquist, our Director of Programs, and S.K. Doyle, our Associate Director. Thanks for joining us. I hope you're all safe in the aftermath of yesterday's storm. It was absolutely wild up here in Westchester. We've got trees down all over. We've got roads closed. We lost our power at 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon, and Con Ed still says they don't know when we're going to be restored. So 13 hours in. Today, we want to focus a little bit on how we are adapting to the feedback that we receive from our feeding programs. Many of you who've been on our program directors calls know that we have several calls a week and we talk about challenges and opportunities. And you've heard us talk about the surge in demand that feeding programs have experienced several times. We see it across our programs. You see it in the national press around the country. People are just flocking to feeding programs, and we think this will get more severe as a lot of supplemental benefits have expired over the last week or two, and as Congress has failed to act. We've spent less time focusing on some of the other challenges that accompany the pandemic, and a lot of that is a lack of consistent access to a wide variety of fresh foods and certain staples. We're feeding more people, or our programs are feeding more people than ever before, but the ability to get high quality food, the ability to get balanced food has never been more challenging. And many of our programs lack adequate either refrigeration or freezer capacity to allow them to store food, to allow them to buy in bulk at better pricing, and to be able to meter food out as the program meets demand. Those programs have to coordinate the delivery of food purchases so that food can be distributed quickly. If the items that they need for delivery can't match their schedule, they may be forced to buy them from either more expensive sources or in smaller than optimum sizes. And you've probably also seen in the press some shelf-stable items like rice have been in limited supply through the traditional channels that most of our programs use, and that's required them to go outside of traditional sources to retail operations at significantly higher costs. So imagine the challenge of feeding even more people with food that's of lesser quality and that's costing more. So the staff has been listening, to all of you out there, all of our programs, looking for ways that we can help them address these challenges. Today, we're pleased to report on what we'll be doing, both in the short term in response to COVID, but we've got some ideas and some plans that will also benefit everybody once we return to normal, to help them, really more fully meet the needs out there. So let me turn it over to Patrick to give you a little bit more detail on things we've been talking about and to give you an example of how we partner with our programs. Patrick, it's all yours.
Great, thanks so much, Peter. And good afternoon. It's good to see you all, or be with you all today. One of the things that Peter highlighted, and that's become really, really important for us at Episcopal Charities, whether it's the program office or our communications team, our board, staff, every one of us, one of our biggest things that we're focused in on is communication, is being in contact with our programs, because what's happening on the grassroots, what's happening on the ground is critical for us to understand so that we know how to respond to it. We don't want to come in as support and be like, here's a solution to a problem you don't even have, right? But because we're listening from the ground up, we're able to respond to the needs that are coming from our programs. And one of the things that our feeding programs have talked about is the ability to access proteins, eggs, meats, shelf-stable milk, rice, beans, some of these really essential components to feeding a family where they just haven't been able to get their hands on it. I was talking to one program director who had to call 4 different distributors before they could get enough things of ground beef to give to their guests that were coming in within a few weeks. So now that volunteer is taking hours just trying to source protein. Now, at this particular place, they have one kind of very old refrigerator. So they can only give out one little thing of ground beef because they don't have the space to store large pieces of chicken, those kinds of things, roasters. So beginning to hear these kinds of issues from our programs and looking at the costs. So costs kept going up and up and up and up for these proteins because there were massive distribution issues starting in, in the big factories, big meat processing plants and stuff like that in the Midwest and the South, that had an impact on us here. So if you're trying to provide food for 200 people coming through a food pantry on a weekend, getting 200 things of meat was actually becoming pretty difficult. So one of the things that we've done is we are actually going to launch a pilot program of this in the next 2 weeks here, of a bulk buying project. And what we're doing is we've identified kind of a small number, about 10 programs across the diocese from here in the city all the way up through the Hudson Valley. And by partnering with them, what we're essentially going to do is cover one distribution of proteins or of shelf-stable milk or rice and beans or whatever kind of the main products that they're really struggling to get a hold of. And the reason we can do that is because we set up a bulk buying deal. And instead of 10 different programs trying to find 10 different sources for proteins or those kinds of things, it's just us, Episcopal Charities, working with one distributor, with one contact, and being able to say, we need X thousand units going to these 10 programs on this day. And we can do that because we're able to leverage our size and the way in which we're buying, and because we're working with one person, we can actually have a lot more effective and a lot more time effective. So the benefits for our programs are, one, they can just take a beat. They can take a breath and not have to worry about having to come up with the money to pay for a distribution of a thing that they would love to give out, but they just can't afford to give out right now. The second thing we're able to do is they get to take a beat and they don't have to worry about ordering it. You don't have to worry about all the logistics that go into it because our office, Episcopal Charities, will take care of those details. So this becomes a way in which we can pilot to see if this is going to work on a bigger scale. We want to make sure we know how to scale this well without it becoming unruly and making sure we can still fund it appropriately, which is why we're so grateful for all those who have been donating, our partner funders who are working with us because they know that we are working on the ground in the grassroots with programs. As a part of this program, we realized that we needed to kind of build in some infrastructure for some of our programs. Where some of our programs, even if we could order chicken, we had no place to put it to be able to store it safely. And so we're actually working with a lot of programs right now to get new refrigeration, new freezers into those places. And it has an extra bonus to it. A lot of programs are able to purchase food from food banks at an extremely discounted rate. But in order to be a member of a food bank, in order to have that relationship, you have to have refrigeration. So for some of our programs, by purchasing refrigeration for them now, means that for years, potentially, it could be saving thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars in their food expenses. So much of what we're trying to do during the pandemic is to both look at the immediate needs and still focus in on those long-term objectives and those long-term issues of sustainability for programs. So yeah, we're really excited. SK, our associate director, has been working hard on this one. We've got members of our board and advisory committee and a review committee for the COVID-19 fund have all been working hard on this. And so we're excited to kind of roll it out here in the next couple of weeks. So that's my update, Peter.
Thanks, Patrick. What's really great is this is just another example of how our staff is working to make certain that the generosity of all of our supporters out there helps even more people in need. And again, it's a broken record, but this has never been more critical, and the need to get more aid to more people is important. And from what Patrick just said, I think you get a sense, I hope you get a sense that our staff works to provide more than just funds, to create ideas. The program director's calls, we have different programs advising other programs. So, we really value the relationships we have with all the programs that we work with to serve so many of our neighbors in need. Obviously our ability to help them is a result of the support that we get from loyal supporters like you. We couldn't do this work without you, and we really are appreciative. We're also starting to plan for the next few months. Again, this is not going away soon. The impacts are going to be with us for quite a while, and we're looking forward a few months to plan for challenges that we know our programs will face as we move into the fall and the winter, where we've got tougher weather with fewer daylight hours. As we've discussed in the past, a lot of our feeding programs that were either choice pantries or even sit-down meals have had to transition to meals to go and outside distribution. That's fine in the summer, even fine in the late spring. It's going to be tougher as we get into cold weather. So we know that there are going to be greater needs as a result of this, and we want to make sure to help them meet those needs. If you're able to help us in this endeavor, we're continue to look for financial support. Every gift is important, and I can guarantee to you we will put those funds to good use. We still need volunteers. Patrick has talked in the past about volunteer burnout just because of the scope and the intensity of the work that our programs are doing. The virus, we've seen the resurgence in many states, so we continue to get requests for masks and other PPE, and if you've got access to that or ideas, let us know. We'll try to get it out into the field. Once again, there's a really easy to find drop-down menu, COVID-19 menu on our website, www.ec-ny.org. Thanks for your continued interest. We really do appreciate the support. And I'll ask you all, if you know other programs in your neighborhoods that need assistance, let us know. We've raised a significant amount of money. We really want to get it out into the field. It breaks my heart when I hear of people that have cut back hours or cut back operations because of financial constraints. We want to make sure that we get money out into the field to meet these needs as quickly as we can. We're going to have a meeting on Friday, again, of our COVID relief fund to review some applications and to look at other programs where we think we can be of assistance. We'll take some questions if you've got any. Once again, we're doing this every other week now, so our next call will be on August 19th, and maybe by then the heat wave will be over. But SK, do we have any questions in queue?
I have not, seen any on the Zoom. Amalia, are you seeing any on Facebook? Never mind, no comments on Facebook either.
Okay, well, we'll let you all go and get out and enjoy the weather. And again, I hope you're all safe after yesterday. It was pretty wild, and I'm a long-time utility guy. There's still, I think, over 2 million people down the East Coast without power. So it's challenging. And of course, it's particularly, as all crises are, challenging for people on the margins, people in need. So these sorts of things disrupt a vital program. So just stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll talk to you in 2 weeks.
Thanks so much, everyone.
Thanks.